Hey folks, Triple Crown here, coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a round 12 summary, Operation SF, San Francisco, and the game is still neck and neck between the Axis and the Allies. The Germans are pressing towards Calcutta to get that 13th victory city, which would ensure them a victory, or meaning the Allies would have to secure two to take back from Japan. Now, Italy did their typical can opener last turn, so the Germans had come in and killed the British, and the British counterattacked and killed, a stack of German tanks. And then the Italians came in and they had overwhelming numbers. So the British knew that. So they knew the Germans could have blitzed through next turn with the complement of this entire Air Force. Germany now is building bombers. So I can't even count. This is all their fighters. And this is some of their Me-262s and medium bombers. And they built a whole bunch of more medium. And these guys here are the heavy bombers. So they can only have two in gameplay. And so there's just this stuff coming down. So the Germans, if they are to go into Bombay next turn, which all of their armor can make it through, that's turn 13, 14, 15. So I don't see how the British are going to be able to stop them, particularly with the Italian can opener. Cairo is going to be safe, so there's nothing happening there. Everybody now is just really focused on the victory cities. The Italian Navy is sitting right here now at a naval base. Actually, this is over there. So the Germans repaired their naval base, or built a new naval base actually in Cairo. And over here in the Pacific side, the Japanese Navy, which it looks like it's a bit of a mess. It's actually all sitting in this sea zone right here. I'll have to tidy that up, but it by itself, if it was to face the British and the Americans with the complement of their Air Force here on the coast, I would give it a 50-50 battle. So the Allies, in order to make sure the Japanese can't take them out, first the British came, or the New Zealanders, and with the Australians, I always have trouble saying Anzac. I've never liked that word, but anyways, they are combined. Australian and New Zealanders took the Marshall Islands. So those aircraft carriers they're the American aircraft carriers and battleships. That's just what could not fit on this placeholder. This is the American fleet, and this is all of the American ground units are there. There's about, let's just say there's 11 transports total, minus 5 infantry. So that's about 17 ground units for the Americans, and that is the Commonwealth fleet that is sitting there. Now there's also some American transports. There's 2 down here and 3 Commonwealth transports over here. There's also, America's got a follow-up with the Commonwealth, a bunch of more transports over in this area here off the west coast of San Francisco, and also off of British Columbia. The British and the Canadian are building transport. So the Allies have 3 turns to get across and take the Philippines, to take Hong Kong, to take Shanghai, or to ultimately, could they take Tokyo if the Japanese aren't careful? That could be something the Allies do. So that's going to be interesting. Depending on if they're going to lose Calcutta, maybe that is the only play, is to go for Tokyo. Wouldn't that be interesting? Over here in Asia, the Russians and the CCP and the KMT continue to push the Japanese along the coast, although the Japanese are sort of doing a breakout here in Guangxi, but the KMT at this point doesn't care. They're just going to stay put right beside Shanghai. And kind of basically a standoff here in the Atlantic between the Atlantic fleets and the German fleet. Nobody really wants to spend too much money in the Atlantic right now. Everybody's really focused on their objectives over here in the Pacific side of the board. So this is very interesting. I'm not sure what's going to happen. The British built a Lancaster heavy bomber here in Sydney last turn. And the Japanese are now making 44 IPP, so they are almost, they're basically now just enough units to put in Tokyo, so maybe that's what they're going to do for the rest of the game. And there was a question from Warhammer, why don't the Germans make it to the second Russian capital over here in Novosibirsk to shut the Russians down? This is not a victory city, and I felt, although that's not a bad play considering all the stuff that's headed here, none of these Russian units are strong enough to take over Shanghai. It's more of a nuisance, and I felt that Germany and Italy to head this direction would require probably maybe 10 or 12 units, so they could not sacrifice those units. They needed to head towards India and Calcutta. So stay tuned for round 13. It's going to be a finish that I would anticipate is going to happen in round 14 or 15. So stay tuned, folks.